zombies, and Andrew Tran on your left with green-black zombies. Green-black zombies recently making the top 8 of the Star City Games Invitational a few weeks back in the hands of Leon Kornacki.
Yes. Not really an archetype that's as popular as the red-black variety. It didn't win any Grand Prix back-to-back. A lot less trolls sort of fell off the map after the first weekend, basically. Yeah. But making a little bit of a comeback here. The green-black version is going to be running Blood Artists in his list, as well as Blood-Thrown Vampires.
Yeah, and the red-black zombie list, which you see on the right-hand side here, pretty standard stuff. The Hell Rider, Thundermaw, Hellkite, Falconwrath, Aristocrat package of the top end of the curve, backing up Night of the Drell's Messenger, Gravecrawler, Diagraph Ghoul.
So we're already underway. We started with Gravecrawler on Michael's side, and Andrew started with a Diagraph Ghoul.
One Dreadbore appearing in Michael's list, one Bonfire, one Tragic Slip, 4 Pillars, and 4 Searing Spears, rounding out the removal suite.
The removal suite for Andrew includes 3 Tragic Slips, 2 Ultimate Price, and an Abrupt Decay.
So we're going to see Night of Infamy and 3 damage with the Exalted Trigger. It's going to knock Andrew down to 17. And going first in the Zombies Mirror is a big deal.
Yes.
If both players have Geralt's Messenger on turn 3, the person who went first has a substantial edge. And of course the black-red deck in general, with all of its haste creatures, its closing speed, being on the front foot is a huge deal.
Yes. Now, have you played any of the black-red versus green-black?
Not really. Most of my playing has just been the black-red deck. I haven't touched the black-green version very much.
I'm interested to see if one of them has an edge, or if it just doesn't matter which is which.
Sure. So there's a Blood-Thrown Vampire, combos well with Blood Artist and Gravecrawler, a card that I actually think is a bit underplayed in these lists.
I agree. I think it's underplayed in the red lists, and I think that the red lists could be taking better advantage of active treason effects.
Yeah.
That's one of the better ways to deal with a Thragtusk if you're zombies, is to take it and then get the beast for yourself.
Yeah, I was kicking around with a list with Mark of Mutiny and Blood-Thrown Vampire.
I was walking around the top tables, and I saw 2 different decks that had Traitorous Bloods after sideboard.
Sure, yeah.
So.
And there's a Rakdos Guildgate from Michael, signaling no turn 3 Messenger, rather.
Andrew's not running any Guildgates. I don't like Guildgates.
I mean, the mana
in these decks.
The mana is a little rough to cast red spells. I had a lot of experience with this.
Yep.
But the Guildgates are a huge cost.
Yeah, if you absolutely positively have to be running Geralt's Messenger in your list, then you have to have the Guildgates. But I would rather be playing things that come into play untapped and play Hellhole Flailer, for example.
Sure, yeah.
Because if you see here, his 3rd land, he couldn't play a 3-drop here, and or maybe just didn't have one. And Andrew does. Having to go down to 12 to do it.
And Night of Infamy might actually have to get in front of the Diagraph Ghoul here because he's just on the back foot. Vampire plus Messenger also play very well with one another.
Yes.
This gives Andrew a lot of flexibility in combat. He can block with Messenger the turn it comes into play. And so a lot of utility. I think a lot of the reason that you can justify Guildgate in the black-red list is there's just not a lot going on at 2 mana. So ideally you can play
1-drop and then Guildgate 1-drop and then draw.
Just go from there, yeah.
And that's what we saw a lot of in the early lists that had like Bump in the Night.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Now though you're playing 4 and 5 drops, and I'm not so sure that you can afford to be doing the same thing.
Right. And now this is another spot where Blood-Thrown Vampire is pretty awesome. Michael has Aristocrat, it appears Aristocrat and Hellrider in hand. Normally he would be able to alpha here, but the Vampire plus Messenger threatens a ton of damage. All right, we're going to get in with everything.
So we're going to attack for 8, put Andrew to 4.
I would be...
And then that's going to be it for Andrew. Or I'm sorry, that's it for Michael. So now Andrew has a turn to just try and kill him.
He might also just be able to sack Messenger here for an extra
2 damage.
2 damage, actually an extra
3 damage because he'll get the +1/+1 counter.
Well, so that's 10, 6, 5, 4, 3. So
he'll need a blood artist in hand, or
another messenger,
or a Dregmanger.
Or a Dregmanger. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of.
Does a Ranker do it?
That's 1 short by my calculation. I think he needs to pick up an extra he needs to pick up an extra 3 points based on what he had on. And Messenger's an extra 3 points.
Yep.
So I believe this is exact lethal. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and this is exact lethal. So you need another 3 points. Messenger is, in essence, another 4 because it's +2 for the Blood Throne Vampire and +2 for the comes into play trigger. And there you have it.
I believe. Well, Andrew scooped up his cards first, but I believe that he's just going there. Yeah, Michael's got the wincing face, seeing if he could have done anything different. So Andrew broke serve there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very hard for Michael to win that game holding back on defense.
Yes.
So
the first one to declare a block is usually the guy that's going to lose that game.
Yeah, I mean, his one spot there, I think, to change the pacing of a game a little bit was to block with Night of Infamy in front of the Diregraph Ghoul the turn previous.
That would have saved him probably 6 damage over the course of the game, maybe 4.
Yeah, maybe 4, but 4 damage might mean another turn. That might mean another turn.
Yep.
But I don't know if he necessarily appreciated exactly how easy it was for Andrew to just put together lethal on that last turn.
Right.
So going to the sideboard here, I got Michael's deck here. He has 2 more copies of Bonfire of the Damned, which seem awesome. He has a singleton Cremate that's very good against the Zombie Mirror to break up the graveyard shenanigans. Even better against the Black-Green list because they have Dreadmangler.
And Rancor.
And Rancor, yeah. And 4 copies of Vampire Nighthawk, which is
and that's the real card, I think.
Yeah, any creature-oriented matchup, Nighthawk is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Andrew has 2 in his sideboard, so definitely the advantage going to Michael in that sense. How do you feel about Graveyard Hate in general in the Zombie Mirror, and more specifically Cremate?
Well, I like Cremate a lot because it's basically a free roll.
Yeah.
Because it cycles. I think that bringing a card like Tormod's Crypt, something that dedicated, would be a mistake.
Yes.
But it's easy enough to find a window to play Cremate. It can always cycle, and there's plenty of powerful things it breaks up. So I also wouldn't want a bunch of Cremates because you don't want your hand full of them, but 1 Cremate seems like the perfect number to have to bring in.
Now, for Andrew, he's got 3 Deathrite Shaman in his sideboard, which seems awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the life gain's meaningful, breaking up the graveyard's meaningful. It's basically a better Cremate. It gives him some more closing speed.
Yep. Does all the things.
Yeah, a lot of good work that card does.
The cards that Andrew has access to are Duress, Appetite for Brains. I don't think any of those are coming in. Deathrite Shaman, I think we can agree that's coming in.
Well, Appetite is actually, I've seen it brought in against Black-Red Zombies before.
Well,
there's so many 4s and 5s, but I would be loath to try to play the matchup that way because there's not that many 4s and 5s. Your mana's super tight, so it's not like you can afford to take a turn off Appetite and hoping to hit a 4. And there just aren't that many 4s and 5s, period. I mean, we're looking at
4 Aristocrats,
9 cards,
3 Hell Riders, 2
So
Hellkite.
I've seen it done before, but I would not try it at home. Yeah.
We've also got 2 Liliana of the Veil. Not really very good.
No, I don't. I don't like it again very much in the mirror match because there's so many. The zombies deck have so many ways to ignore edicts. So that's another card I'm not a big fan of.
2 Nighthawks. Those are coming in.
Yeah, for sure.
Another Abrupt Decay.
Awesome.
Probably coming in. And 2 Golgari Charm. What do you think about that one?
I would imagine that's more for say like band control.
Yes.
Because it pulls up Detention Sphere, regenerates your team against Supreme Verdict, etc. Possibly some straight token decks, but I don't think it does very much work here.
Okay.
I don't think you want regenerate your team for 2 mana in this matchup.
Sure.
Because as you saw in that game, if you've watched much of this matchup at all, I mean, the decks often play like 2 ships passing in the night. Both decks are so good at attacking and so bad at blocking that you rarely see, all right, I attack with 4 guys, and I'm going to block 3 of them and try to trade. That sort of play pattern just doesn't happen very often in the Zombies Mirror because the decks aren't equipped to play that kind of game.
Yeah, Gravecrawler actually can't block. Diregraph, Ghoul, and Drolf's Messenger pretty much can't block.
Right.
It's very tough to block successfully with a Blood Throne Vampire or a Blood Artist.
Yeah,
so.
And all those cards are so good on offense that if you're sitting back and trying to block, it's generally going to be a losing proposition. And so you don't see these big blocks. I mean, that game, I don't think there was a single blocker declared. It was just, I'm attacking, you're attacking, I'm attacking, you're attacking.
Yep.
Arguably, there should have been a block declared on 1 turn, but saying that aside, the deck is very much geared towards being on the offensive the whole time.
Yeah. Now, Michael does have 4 main deck Pillar of Flame, although we didn't have an appearance by it in Game 1. Very important, obviously. That's pretty much the reason you run that card.
Yes. I mean, last season, the decks are a little bit different now, of course. But last season I played Black-Red Zombies, and one of the big incentives for me to play Red was Pillar for the mirror match, because if they have Diagraph Ghoul and they're on the play, it takes an awesome hand for you to be able to overcome that. Pillar makes it very easy to win. So,
card that I see in Michael's sideboard that interests me, and I'm curious what it's for, is Gloom Surgeon.
Yes, that is. I am not positive what you would want Gloom Surgeon for. I mean, presumably decks that block, right?
I guess, but I would play Gloom Surgeon in a format that has things like Pyroclasm.
Yeah.
We have Rolling Trembler.
Right.
No one really runs that card. We don't have a Wildfire. Things like that.
Yeah.
We don't. I would be interested to know if anyone at home knows what the Gloom Surgeon is specifically for.
I mean, Gloom Surgeon's a fine Magic card.
Oh,
it's
it is
reasonably powerful.
It's in the cube.
Yeah.
I won many a cube draft with that card.
Maybe for bonfire decks. I don't know. But I would be surprised if it came in here, but we shall see.
I'm willing to be surprised by the Gloom Surgeon.
I'm always happy to be surprised in the booth. Those are the best moments, right?
When you're like, oh, that's what that's for. I see. So we're going to look at our 7s.
Michael is
pondering whether he's keeping.
Yeah, both are.
They're both going to keep. There's a promo Gravecrawler. See if we start the game the same way. Yep, same way. Basically the same lands, too.
Yep.
All foils all the time.
Yeah, Andrew's deck is pretty... I think we saw a foil Asian Overgrown Tomb in the last game.
Yep, that's right.
Taking this seriously.
Yeah, man. So we're going to play another 1-drop, and then we're going to probably not Pillar. Like, you really don't want to Pillar Diagraph Ghoul at all.
Yeah, it depends how constrained on mana you are. If you're going to be tapping out turns 3, 4, 5, then you have to cast it because what else are you going to cast
exactly.
it?
What are you going to do, save it? I don't think so.
You can't take it with you. So there's an untapped Overgrown Tomb. But yeah,
it's going to be a Rancor. It's going to be a hasty 1-drop, basically, for Andrew Tran. Here comes another thing that can't block.
Yep.
Is there... They just... This is very strange to me, to have a deck full of creatures in a mirror match that there's just absolutely no blocking happening.
Right. Yeah, it's...
I'm not sure I've ever seen it before in any metagame I've ever played in.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I've seen it a couple times before, but it's mostly a feature. Mostly in beatdown matchups, you want to be someone wants to be the one attacking, and then someone wants to be the one blocking, because one person has better aggressive cards, or another person has a better late game, and they want to defend themselves.
You can't always be the beatdown.
Right, but these decks, they basically can't block. Yeah. They don't have the tools to block, and so they just have to kind of play their stuff and hope it's good.
It just makes me want people to play like Tree of Redemption in the green-black zombies deck.
Sure, but even that, I mean, the games are so fast. And
yeah, exactly.
The other decks can have like ultimate price or just more spot removal. It's not even a guarantee that works.
There's a Nighthawk.
Yeah.
That's the kind of card we want.
Right, Vampire Nighthawk is a big deal here potentially. If it sticks, I mean.
Yeah, if it sticks around for a little while, that Nighthawk's enormous game. Although Abrupt Decay does a fairly good job of dealing with it, I'm not sure Andrew wants to waste his time doing it though.
There's a Drake Mangler, and he's in with both. He holds back the 2/2 Diagraph Ghoul, but it's again. I mean, it's pretty rough for Michael to take this hit, because if he does, he almost certainly has to block with the Nighthawk next turn. So
he can't attack with the Nighthawk.
Well, I mean,
gain 2 life.
It's real risky. I mean,
I agree.
You just might die on the way back, right?
I think he just trades here.
I would probably just block the Dreg Mangler.
Yes.
I mean, Michael could have a very specific hand that would allow him to not block here, but overall, I would rather. All right, we're gonna get the Diagraph Ghoul.
Try and choke his mana out some more, I guess.
I guess, but the zombie deck doesn't have a lot going. It's not like he has Aristocrat Thundermaw Hellkite.
Right.
He's not going up the curve the same way.
Yeah, he has no card greater than 3 mana.
Especially with if he has Pillar Flame in hand, then I would definitely want to get the 3/3 off the table. But
And he does. Does have Pillar Flame in hand.
and we just drawn another Nighthawk. I don't know if we have a 4th land to go along with it.
I don't think we do, but
Nighthawk's still plenty good here.
yeah. I think that these pillars are possibly just hanging out in Michael's hand because he wants to dome Andrew.
Well, he hasn't really had a spot to play it. I think it was fine for him to pass on it the second turn of the game.
Oh yeah, because you don't want to do it to Diagraph Ghoul when there are things like Jarl's Messenger floating around.
Right, and now he's in this kind of annoying bind of like, he doesn't really want it. He would rather, he would like to pillar that Diagraph Ghoul to get it off the table so he can get in for 4, because he doesn't want to let Andrew block, because it's very good value for Andrew to be able to trade Diagraph Ghouls here. But since he doesn't have a 4th land, he can't play it and Nighthawk, so he just sort of has to.
I would anticipate a trade here.
I thought that it looked like Andrew went for his life toll, like he was declining the trade. He's just passing the turn?
Passing the turn?
Oh, maybe that must be Searing Spear in hand and not Pillar.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense if that's Searing Spear. I think he has 1 Searing Spear, 1 Pillar. I think he top decked the Pillar. All those red cards look really similar from far away.
Yes, that's true.
Andrew not having mana troubles. Going to lead with a Blood Artist.
Blood Artist was pretty awesome here. It's going to necessitate a response out of Michael right away if he wants to use a removal spell, and then Andrew has a window to stick Rancor on a creature.
Andrew's not going to opt to use the Rancor. This hints at a second 2-drop post-combat. Probably a Lotleth Troll.
Yep, so I know that might look like a mistake, but basically if Michael incinerates, or sorry, Searing Spears in response, then Andrew gets to stick the Rancor. Yeah. By letting him pass into combat, he saves himself 1 damage because the Rancor goes wasted.
Absolutely. It's going to be a Bloodthrone Vampire instead.
And Andrew's sort of setting up some of the more synergistic aspects of his deck.
Right on time, land number 4. No, wait, the opposite of that.
Right, and Michael has to play around so much stuff. There's Bloodthrone Vampire plus Blood Artist combo, Rancor in hand, a Dreadmangler in the graveyard. There's like a lot of little things going on the board. All of them require kind of different responses too.
Now, if that is a Pillar of Flame and not a Searing Spear, this is a slightly easier situation because he can play Nighthawk and Pillar.
Yeah.
If he wants to. And then that's interesting.
We're going to lead on the Bloodthrone Vampire? That seems like... you're just giving him the option of which of those worst creatures are.
I think I would have gone for the Blood Artist there.
Yeah, I think so too. Particularly with Nighthawk in hand, because then you can pretty easily stabilize from there.
So the ability for Pillar is still happening for the rest of the turn, I believe. So if the Vampire would hit the graveyard, it doesn't anymore.
Correct, yes.
Meaning the Blood Artist won't trigger for the Vampire. So Michael can attack here, and neither of his creatures can block, not even the 3/3.
Sure. With that said, I still think I would have tried to remove Blood Artist there because
I agree.
It dramatically reduces the amount of stuff you need to care about. Now, Michael has to care about his life total even when he's not looking at lethal. And now, there's a lot of range now. Now he can rancor up the Bloodthrone Artist if he's feeling like it and just send. Probably doesn't want to do that in the face of the Nighthawk, but Michael's life total is under serious duress even if Andrew isn't able to attack for the remainder of the game.
I think that I might suit up the Rancor here, get a little greedy. Does it take him out?
Well, the Bloodthrone, the Vampire might be too valuable to just
so we're
trade
going
away.
to put Michael to 5 with the Blood Artist trigger.
Well, I think he's debating whether or not he's going to attack with the Bloodthrone Artist right now.
The Bloodthorn
Vampire,
yeah.
rather. Sorry.
I think you do. This is a 5/3 right now.
It has trample, so
you can make it a 9/7 if he wants to.
I'm not sure why we haven't gone into combat yet and see how we block first. Unless this is just lethal and it's elementary.
I don't think it is, though. So Michael's at 4. And this is a 9/7, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. No, it's not lethal. Is it? Am I counting
he gets to sacrifice his Blood Artist too. I think this is just a lethal attack.
Okay, if he sacrifices the Blood Artist 2, then sure.
Buy, sell, or trade. You need to do that before the end of the 9th round of Swiss.
So I mean, Michael has no option other than just to put his creatures in front and hope that they survive. But there's going to be 3 more multiple Blood Artist triggers from the combat too, because the Nighthawk has Death Touch, so that's automatically going to kill the Vampire. The Vampire is big enough to trample over the top of whatever. So
I think Andrew's spelling it out here.
Yeah.
So if you finish X1 or better at the end of this round,
so many ones. I don't know. It's tough for me to say that it's always going to be lethal no matter what Michael does. So if he blocks with both creatures, prevents 5 of the trampling damage.
But there's 3 Blood Artist triggers.
Then there's going to be 3 Blood Artist triggers.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Michael's figuring out all the angles to see if there is a way out of the current predicament.
He has trample Blood Artist squeeze, right? He needs to block with enough to not die to trample, but the more that he blocks with, the more Blood Artist triggers get generated. There's really no way for him to get out from under this block.
Stuck between a rancor and a hard place here. It's a 5-powered Bloodthorn Vampire. Currently. No, that's incorrect. It's a 7/5.
Yeah.
It's a 5/5 with a rancor on it. That's what I meant.
So yeah, even in the world where he blocks with everything, then it's 3 Blood Artist triggers plus 2 points of trample is 5. He picks up 2 from the Nighthawk, so 3. I guess he goes to 1 in that world.
If he goes to 1, then that means he wins this game because he has. Well, I guess if his creatures die, then he won't win this game. Still.
Right.
Yeah. Never mind. Because Michael has the Aristocrat in hand.
Right. Assuming that we're counting all this up correctly. So 7/5, 2 tramples over, so that's 2. 3 triggers is -1. Gains 2 is 1 is my count. Assuming that we have the right stats on that Vampire and the life totals are correct.
Right. I think that that's correct. Even if Andrew sacrifices the Blood Artist before combat to make it a 9/7.
Right. It doesn't change that math because the Blood Artist being in play is basically the same as it getting routed through the Bloodthorn Vampire.
Except for Andrew would be at +2 life.
Right. He's -1 plus down a Blood Artist, so. Yeah. That blood doesn't get him anywhere. So, assuming I'm saying this correctly, Michael should be falling to 1 here. Two points of trample damage, washed away by the 2 points of lifelink from the Nighthawk, 3 Blood Artist triggers. So, okay, so we should be at 13-1. Yeah, all right, we got
13-1. Michael does have Falconwrath Aristocrat in hand. That doesn't really do it.
Right,
and he can't kill the Blood Artist.
At this point,
no, he can pillar it.
Well, I think he used his pillar last turn, but at this point,
but he has more in his deck.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, he can certainly draw a way to kill the Blood Artist, but I mean, at this point, he actually just dies to just rancor on the Blood Artist.
Yes.
Of all things.
Awkward. I've rankered up many a Bird of Paradise. I'm not afraid to battle with a 2/1.
Sure, yeah.
Little pygmy Razorback action.
At least it's flies. The rancor Blood Artist beatdowns are a lot more depressing.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, Blood Artist is He's got Extort when
Sure.
everything's died,
Yep.
you know? He's got the Leech Seed ability. Michael is going to...
I mean, yeah, he's just dead to Ranker here.
He is dead to everything now. Attack with both. Hope he doesn't block. And then hope he doesn't cast Ranker.
Yep, and there's the concession.
So Andrew Tran wins 2-0 on the draw both games against Michael Nguyen.
Yeah,
the
well-
zombies, not really mirror.
Right. The green-black list seems a lot more streamlined for this kind of matchup, particularly since its curve is lower.
Yes.
Lower. Excuse me. He's not trying to get to, you know, Thundermaw, Hellkite, and Aristocrat, and Hellrider, and all that
Whereas
kind of stuff.
Michael is planning much more on trying to fight things